time to start. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen of the toilet. Yep. Today is episode 9 of the Kiln Podcast, and today we will be discussing our very own absolute units. Not units of power, units of big dick energy.
Yes.
That's
Each of us have selected a character. There are
9
characters that we think
for
exude
episode 9.
the biggest,
So
have
many
the biggest
nines.
cocks.
Yes.
Is good. Yeah.
Half of my one are women, so that will be interesting.
But they also have big cocks.
Yeah, big
Yeah,
cocks.
they exude that beautiful energy of the massive penis.
The women get like a cock in it.
I feel like we should talk. One of the things we did say, like when we were making our 3x3s for this, was we were discussing what it meant to be a Chad and what essence. And sometimes you just know you know. There's no real definition. There's no real way to describe how some being could be this Chadness.
They require a large phallus.
Yes. And thus, it's an unusual energy. However, we will get underway right away with the first 3x3. The Calibri Body. Couple seconds delayed. Now, Caleb, are you going by your plan to do this weird ass?
Yeah. So I mean, like, I realised when I saw it, I'm like, well, hang on a minute. There's not really a pattern here. Well, I mean, So the order I'm doing this in, a bit odd. I wouldn't even know how to really describe it, but it's a very odd pattern. But we'll start at the beginning of this weird pattern, at the top left man.
The sergeant.
The Sergeant Avery Johnson. There's not much I can say other than this guy obviously has a pretty large phallus. There's not much I can.
That can't be your reason for every single one.
But it is.
He is like.
That's why I said it before, so we can move on from the big phalluses.
I don't want to say he's funny, because that's not what makes someone a Chad, but it's a lot of that. It's a lot of when he's there on a mission with you. It's like, yes, you want him on the mission. Because, you know, every time he's going to say something, it's going to have Chad energy towards it, right? He's going to focus that Chad into it, and just fucking tons of memorable quotes in those games that he says, and in Halo 3, I fucking salute him, you know. Mad cunt. But yeah, the way I've ordered this is sort of the characters I can talk least about, or I have least amount of things to say, go at the start, and the characters I have more to say about go later on. So yeah, I can't really. I'll just be drawing it out with him.
He go pew pew when you drive.
He's a mad cunt, and he knows what the ladies like. Anyway. Moving next, we actually are going diagonally.
Diagonally.
To the middle. And this is Alan Ripley. Now, it was interesting because, Ethan was talking about how he had some women on his list, and I'm thinking, because I already have Biscuit, but I'm like, what other women are there that are Chads or Chadettes? And then initially what went across my mind was Sarah Connor. And then, for a split second, Alan Ripley entered my headspace, and I'm like, fuck, how could I forget about fucking her?
Well, you didn't.
So despite not having an actual dick, there is a there is a spectral, a Susanophalus there, right? Because these highly trained fucking soldiers, right, go into this lair of aliens, and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna fuck them up, we're gonna do all this shit, and then they get their asses kicked. These highly trained soldiers that have fought countless alien species, countless other things, and done countless missions. They know their stuff. They work together really well. They get their ass kicked. But then Alan Ripley says, you know what? I'm gonna get an assault rifle, a fucking flamethrower, and a tracker, and just fucking go in there, get this girl, and get the fuck out. And she fucking does. And then fucking when she gets the mech, and fucking arcs up to the Queen, just fucking badass, just fucking mad cunt. There's nothing more. Yeah, that's it, mad cunt. And I think what's great is that, I mean, a lot of these people, we sort of see them. They're already a Chad at the beginning. Alan Ripley was not a Chad at the beginning. She became a Chad, which I think makes her quite unique among these people.
I think she's one of the more interesting ones as well, simply for the fact that because when you have like a strong woman, sometimes it's not executed well in movies, but Alan Ripley is like one of the best examples of a strong woman.
Exactly.
In a film, especially. Like like a lot of people don't like, for say, Captain Marvel for either the way she was portrayed, because to me she had no real substance or whatever. But obviously with Alan Ripley, you actually got to see her become the strong woman that she is and whatnot, and she felt better and fit the story more than someone else who just feels like they're placed there just to be strong.
Yeah, exactly. Ripley, I mean, obviously, you know, she won in the first one. Spoiler alert. There is
Spoilers.
A second one. There is a second one that she's in. Just seeing her get to that point, from just this shit engineer. I think she was an engineer. Scientist, whatever. I can't remember what she was. To a fucking going into the fucking hive. And fucking threatening the Queen, this massive T-Rex sized alien, making the Queen tell the other aliens to step the fuck down, otherwise they're fucked. Otherwise her eggs are fucked. It's just cool. It's sick. It's cool.
Lean on Morph.
And seeing that progression makes him even more Chad worthy.
Yes.
Now moving on, unless someone else wants to.
Not really.
All right. Next, we're moving diagonal again. We're going to Biscuit Kruger.
Bisky.
Another mad cunt.
Russian.
What do you have to say about Bisky?
I still remember, like, when I mean, I initially liked Biscuit because like, she was cool. She was this master that you knew there was obviously some hidden power. There was obviously something to her that, obviously, given how she sort of held herself, and given the way she talked, it was like, obviously, okay, she's probably powerful. She's probably got something fucking fantastic to her. And then when she finally does get into her big form and
Big woman
bashing the ever living shit out of people, it's just, oh my fucking god, this is sick. And yeah, ironically, I put Biscuit after Ellen, even though I have more to talk about when it came to Ellen, but I wanted it to be a nice diagonal lines.
Well,
yeah, but yeah, Biscuit, I just mad cunt.
I don't really have much to say about Biscuit either. It's just I don't even view Biscuit much as a Chad anyway.
Same.
I do, but yeah, that's more of a perception thing. Anyway,
Biscuit,
now we
biscuit,
move on
She wants the
to
jewels.
now. We've gone diagonal. Now we go to the left. So now it seems a bit more regular to what we
Okay,
did, but then
sure.
we'll change again. So now we got Zena.
Yeah.
Zena Zoldyck. The Zoldycks, like Zena, I put him because he's my favorite Zoldyck, but him and Silver, like Silver as well, alongside him. Whenever they would like come into the story, it's like fuck. The Zoldycks are here. This means that whenever he goes there, you know that the adversary is obviously someone, not only someone who might be powerful, but also someone that needs to die. That is seen as who needs to die. When they appear in the Phantom Troop arc and the Meadowworms arc, both times it was just like, oh shit, this is something that's potentially more serious. Just because the Zoldycks are here, just because he drops down into the battlefield, and that's why I view him as a fucking mad cunt. Simply because of that, his presence, and that was another
He
thing.
rides the wave.
So another thing we were sort of talking about is some Chads are Chads because their very presence changes the battlefield and changes the tone of the arc. And I think Zeno's definitely someone that does that.
I like how they've done that too. Because we're introduced to this kid, Killua, right? How old is he?
Yeah.
Fucking
12.
10 and 12. Okay.
Yeah.
He's absolutely wrecks everyone in the nearby vicinity. He's one of the most powerful characters we see just from the very beginning. You saw what he did in the second time he went through the Hunter exam, right? Then you get his father and then his grandfather, right? These two characters who are above him and stronger than him in every single way, when they enter the field, that's when you fucking know.
Yeah.
And you know what they do for a living.
Yeah.
So when they're there, you're like, fuck, what's happened here?
This person that they've been sent to go up against, that person needs to die.
Yep.
According to whoever hired them, they need to die. You wouldn't
Not just one Zoldyck, two of the strongest Zoldicks.
Exactly. You wouldn't hire Zeno and Silver. Like fucking the fees, the amount of money that would cost. You wouldn't get both of them if it wasn't something you thought, if you didn't think they were necessary. Like yeah. Fucking.
I also think another aspect is like of like Chadness is if they know that, like it's not just charisma, it's like pride. They know they're as strong as they are, and they have every right to know that. He knows how much he's worth. He's like, you want my services? That's fucking millions of dollars for you. Is that a price you're willing to pay?
It's also bringing an old man out of his own retirement, kind of as well. That's that aspect.
He's still a fucking god. So barely retired if he can, fucking still kick ass. And almost kill the youngins. Yeah, yeah.
That's all.
Any other comments on good old Zeno?
Not in particular.
No, because it's hard with him as well because he doesn't show up a lot.
Yeah,
and
most of the characters we have aren't really main characters.
Yeah, and even when he does show up and do the two things in those two events, I'm thinking of I'm more concentrating on the other characters that are in it, like Crollo 1v2ing Silver and his father. I'm more focused on that over whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
And the other thing, it was he had Meruem and Isaac.
Yeah.
So I was more focused on them over this little sneaky fuck.
And then Isaac, then Zeno left.
Yeah.
Is like, alright, my job's here, it's done. Fucking bye.
Yep.
Alright.
Now where we're going?
We're going to Kilowog, which is the middle right. So diagonal.
Big man.
Fucking Kilowog, man. He's just.
You poser.
Honestly, honestly, if it weren't for the fact that I wanted the clean diagonal, like straight down the middle, I probably would have put him, um, like in the ones I couldn't talk much about because I can't talk much about him other than he's a mad cunt. And he just exudes that energy of you want to fuck him. That being said, that scene I think where because I can't remember the exact details. Either he chucked a battleship at someone or a battleship was chucked at him. Whichever way, I think he chucked a battleship at someone.
Yeah.
That was fucking sick. That fight, I can't remember who against who it was. I think it was. I can't remember. I just remember there was a fucking fight he was in, and it was fucking sick. And the way he fights, where it's a lot of it's fucking brute strength, and the way he, calls everyone poozes, and he's just the big man. He's the big man, and
he always felt like he's like the sergeant. He's partially in charge. He has rank over a lot of other Green Lanterns. He always feels like a sergeant over everyone, which kind of fits the story because Green Lantern are essentially space cops, and if he's a sergeant in the police, that makes kind of a lot of sense given the character he is.
That's true. There's not much else I can say about him. But now we're getting into more. I can talk a bit more about the people coming up, and we then go diagonal again. But I haven't even finished this series, and then he's on there. I mean, fucking Whitebeard, man. He just. This cunt comes in, starts creating fucking like tidal waves, fucking shatters the fucking world and all that shit. And then even when they do eventually happen to kill him, he still doesn't go down. They killed him, but did they really defeat him? I mean, let's be honest. They killed him. They didn't really defeat him. He still was standing there.
He was standing. How many, like 20 cannon shots and like 200 stab wounds, several other wounds, but not a single one of them on his back. Not a single coward's wound.
Yeah.
And he was still standing. Legend.
Legendary.
And just the way he treats, he treats his crewmates, just
their family,
being that sort of father figure. It's just fucking.
Everyone calls him Pops.
It just.
It's the one thing he wanted in his life. He didn't really care all too much about the One Piece. He never really had that motivation to become the next king of the pirates. All he really wanted was family. And even when you look at him, like in his little picture that Oda drew when he's young, he feels just like such a small child. And then you see him as an old man, and you see him, everything he does. Even like...
He's accomplished.
Everything is accomplished, yeah. The way he even rules over the new world and all the places. Like, everyone sees him with respect, and even Jinbei's not associated with the crew, but Fishman Island and all of them treat him with such respect and high praise compared to the next person who rules over them. But even still, this is a man who was just Roger's rival. And we all know that Roger gives off this essence of, he is a Chad, but he is also partially a mysterious Chad because we don't know a lot about him. All we can really say is, this man's a crazy motherfucker. He exudes that energy no matter what. And this Whitebeard did the same. And don't forget that Whitebeard's epithet as well was the strongest man on Earth.
Yeah, the strongest man. Okay. The world of One Piece is like a power balance, right? You got all Yonko, the four emperors, the 4 emperors, 7 warlords, and 3 admirals, right? All of these together keep balance in the world.
And so
one Yonko, fucking Whitebeard, comes in. Every admiral and every fucking warlord needs to be called to handle him. They had to and every single high-ranking Marine had to be there to take on this one man.
And his crew.
And they only barely fucking did it too.
And even when they did do it, even when they did accomplish it, he didn't fall.
Yeah. and it wasn't even them who accomplished it. They helped it along, but they didn't finish the job. They don't forget they also got the 7 warlords involved.
Yeah, exactly. All 7 warlords, all 3 were emeralds, all of them fucking against this one man. Maybe Mihawk actually got off his ass, so it's a bit different by the fact.
That's the thing as well. A lot of the warlords only fought a little bit because they have no real interest in this war. As Doflamingo put it, it's one of my favorite things Doflamingo says, justice will win, no matter what, because justice is decided on whoever the winner is.
One of my favorite things in One Piece, in any series, is the idea of justice being the winner. The one who controls the story is the one who's in the right. And that obviously leads more into Doflamingo's character and his arc, which Caleb
has not touched.
Anyway.
But even still, Whitebeard, he's a real big bastard. And of course he was very old and he was very weak. He was slowly dying, I guess, as well, during the war as well.
You know what else I love?
He needed medicine.
The idea that you don't try to be the strongest, you have a different goal in mind.
Yeah.
And as a result, you become the strongest. He's there to have a family and to protect his family. And he needed a lot of fucking strength to do that.
Yeah.
So we got it.
Even the other fact about him being part of a certain crew with the previous big Chad man, apparently. Not that we can say a lot about that person, the nameless man. But we've seen the people who were on that crew, and we see what they have become, and it's like, fuck, what? What kind of monster led them? These are monsters. What kind of monster led them? I don't know. In One Piece, I just feel like there's so many different Chads. And Whitebeard is definitely one of the highest ranked and rated one of them all.
I mean, from what I've read, no one's even come close to him. From what I've read, no one's come even close. But
Oh, it's Roger. But he's a bit deceased.
Yeah, we've also not seen a lot of him.
Anyway.
Are we going diagonal again?
No.
Okay.
We're going right.
Okay.
To Fernando.
Fernando.
I don't know why.
Fernando.
I just thought he deserved the spot up here.
He does.
He's compensating.
It's not about how long you know them for, how much they're in it for. He may only have like 7 fucking voice lines of note, but my fucking god, those voice lines.
He's just he is one of those characters who is I don't want to say cocky. I mean, yeah, I guess cocky, but they're so sure of themselves. They know that
Over charismatic.
Charismatic, yeah. They know he knows he's the sexiest person there, and
because he is.
Else. Yeah, he is. Yeah. And just. But even then, I mean, but then aside from his personality, I mean, you look at his sort of like just his abilities and see how that sort of represents him. He's the shield. He's the person there that will take all these hits. Right? His ultimate is literally, we will not die. I will not let you succumb. No matter what comes at us, we will live for these few seconds more.
And then his ult runs out and then he dies.
Yeah, but then that's Alex's
But it's
job
not just protecting himself, it's protecting the others. Even with this presence, he's there to carry the team, to build that.
Well, isn't that what most frontlines do?
Yeah,
some of them. Some of them are frontlines because they just have a tank full of health. You get it wrong. He's a frontline, but he's not there to protect you, and he has no shield. He has an ability which runs and charges. Very often the play stuff of that is they go off and they're fucking in. Whereas Fernando, he's supposed to stick with the team. He's supposed to protect them.
Yeah.
And then you even look at someone like Anara, who is focused on getting people to hit her. Meanwhile, Fernando is He wants people to hit him, but he also wants them to hit his shield, which can then be a block for, everyone else. And I think that it encompasses. He is a knight. It is what it is. He's self-appointed. Yeah,
He's French.
He deserves...
Spanish.
Man, I wouldn't go that far.
Spanish. And the version as well, just to show you.
Oh yeah. And he's Shore Patrol skin.
What if I chose the picture with his face covered?
Oh, then
I probably just wouldn't be here. Like you send the image in chat, and I'm like, oh, it's actually busy on Tuesday afternoon. So I can't be there for this atrocity.
Alright.
That's it. We can't say.
Any other comments on Fernando? Or no?
He's the sexiest person here.
He's compensating.
Everyone here thought they were the sexiest person until Fernando showed up. Anyway, next we are moving diagonals, skipping over Ripley because she's already been done, and then we go to the old man, Tsuchimikado, Motoharu. I mean, he kicked Tomer out of a plane.
What else are you supposed to do?
He kicked fucking Tomer out of a fucking plane. This cunt,
who's supposedly meant to be one of his best friends.
Yeah, this magic. If I use magic, I'm gonna fucking die. Let's use it and not die. Oh, he's a fucking legend. He's just, whenever he's there, he's sort of that character that's like he's got a foot in every world. So when you see him show up, it's like he understands Tomer's world, but then he also understands the magic world and a bit of the science world.
Yeah.
And whenever you see him show up, you're like, okay, something might be going on. Something not good might be going on.
Even when you see other characters just talk to him and like see these characters that are very different and were in very different storylines be correlated and connected to Tsuchimikado himself, it adds more mystery behind Tsuchimikado and over everyone else. Simply because this is a person who's been in the series from the beginning. He's one of Tomer's closest friends, and yet he really just does so much in terms of his presence acts as this kind of catalyst where it's like it means something. We might not know what it is, but it definitely means something. And as Caleb said, yes, he does have all those like feet in the different worlds. And he also has sunglasses and a Hawaiian shirt.
He's also not particularly strong.
No, he's not.
But that's what makes him very cool, because he'll just rock up with a gun, but it's like he's
still someone to be respected.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's literally in summer school because he's Esper as shit.
Yeah, he's a Mac. When I was making the list, I'm like, how can I not put him? He's a cool cunt.
He has sunglasses and a Hawaiian shirt.
Oh no, I mean,
and the shirt's not even open, not even closed.
I was actually tempted, like, when I was making this, I was tempted to put Max Henderson on.
Good point, actually.
Simply because he was also a man with a Hawaiian shirt. And I'll tell you what, he would have been good to put on this, but I think I'm gonna save him for maybe another thing. I don't know. I thought he'd be better off in another 3x3 down the line. But yeah.
Well, you have one final character. It appears.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, it was like I put the first three down, the Johnson, Whitebeard, and Fernando. And then I looked at everyone else's list. And I'm like, hang on, Genryusai hasn't been put down. Don't mind if I do. I mean, I remember when I first watched the anime, and you just see this old man, but even like he hasn't even done anything, and you know, okay, this cunt's gonna do something cool when he fights. You just know he's gonna do something cool.
It's just that trope of old badass man.
And then
And then
these two respected captains,
One of the
Both
oldest
of them.
and the strongest of them.
Both
the
of them.
captains.
like they do their shit, and then Genryusai does his shit, and then the flames, and
Keep in mind, those
for
captains
a
were
lot
the
of-
only two with a dual-wielding Bankai swords as well.
and for a lot of it, he was just like, and even beyond that fight, like other times he fought, a lot of the time he was just using his Shikai. He was just like, it just with his Shikai, he was fucking everyone over. The sheer heat of his flames, like he had to hold it back. If he didn't hold back these flames, he could have literally destroyed the Soul Society. Right? Toshiro just couldn't use his bunker. He couldn't do anything.
No.
well, Iceville is just rendered completely
All water
useless.
velocities.
Any of them just useless in the entire society.
If he unsheathes his sword, yes.
And then he uses his Bankai.
Ah,
He's like, you know everyone I killed, they're back now. They're
here they are.
And
Over the 1,000 years. Here they are. Have fun.
I'm sorry, was this your friend? Tough shit.
all the people, all these powerful, strong people that I killed. Now you don't have to just contend with me, but those people as well. Those people who tried to fight me. Oh man, a unit. He is a unit. And
The only person
and it's-
Aizen was scared of.
Oh, and it's why, like, no disrespect to Shansui, no disrespect at all. But when he became Captain General, I'm like, doesn't feel the same.
Because
He
he never
doesn't
could. Those
feel-
are the
It's not the
biggest
same.
fucking shoes on the planet.
Yeah.
He doesn't. I forget he's Captain General, because to me, he is not on that level. I think
Shinsui, abusing with charisma, absolute Chad. We
But
love
he
him.
was-
Everyone loves him. He's a fantastically strong captain, but those shoes are just too big.
But also,
Cannot build them.
when you look back at it and you really think, it's like, yeah, he's the only one who could have taken
The only
those
one
shoes.
No,
could.
true. He's the only one who
He's
could have.
Yeah.
the biggest feet, but those shoes
Doesn't
are
yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean he lives up to that.
Or just a
he-
testament to just how much of presence
I think
Genryusai
eventually
had.
he would. Eventually he would one day, but
Yeah.
Genryusai just had years,
Thousands.
thousands of years of fucking
Training.
just experience
Mm.
of power building up, and just
Literally, the only reason he's not on mine is because I have a different Bleach character in mind,
Which makes sense.
and I
Yeah.
opted to keep it one in time.
Yeah.
I so wanted to, admittedly.
he
He,
you know,
he is a game changer.
when you see him, like, whenever, you know, and again with the idea of some chads are chads because their presence changes everything. I mean, Genryusai is such a key example of that, because if you see Genryusai coming out and he's gonna fight, you know, okay, then this is serious. This is a foe that you need the fucking Captain General to come
The
along.
man
and
didn't
fucking
even
deal
have
with.
bodyguards because they were just that much weaker
Yeah.
than him.
He,
Like
His
he's
squad
in the
was the
room,
smallest.
he is the best security there.
who needs bodyguards? Exactly.
And that wasn't just hearsay, that was literally the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, legend. Absolute fucking legend.
He makes the Hokage look pathetic. in my opinion.
No disrespect to fucking the Hokages that are amazing, but
Yeah.
Genri aside.
But this man says, who needs security? In Hokage, they have fucking security plastered everywhere.
I mean, it depends on the Hokage. I mean, I
Hashirama different.
Yeah, no, Hashirama. Yeah, the rest. Yeah, okay, I'll put it like this. None of the Hokage, when they use their signature ability, will make it so that that other abilities will simply not fucking work on that planet. No Hokage does that. Where it's like, yeah, fucking, I'm using my ability now. Fucking Kakashi, you can't use your Chidori anymore. It just doesn't work. It just fucking won't activate. That doesn't fucking happen. This man, yes.
Another thing, like when I talk to a Naruto person about Bleach who haven't seen Naruto, the way I say it is, all the captains are essentially Hokage level. That's how I define it to them. All of them are Hokages of their own little unit. And then I talk about Genryusai as being the Hokage of the Hokage.
Yeah.
Because his squad is essentially all of them. And he is the head of everything. Meaning, he needs to be the strongest, most important weapon in their arsenal. And he fills that role perfectly.
I would even equate him like, I would say he's... Because, in Naruto, Kage level gets thrown around quite... Like, there's a lot of characters that become Kage level.
Yeah. That's also I also equate it to the quality to lead others.
Yeah, I would say Yamamoto, actually. He's more like almost a Madara or even a Kaguya sort of level where he's that much... Oh, no, actually, I'd say more Madara. That's more balanced. Kaguya. But he's more like Madara in the sense that he's that much higher than your normal Kages or normal captains.
He's one of those people who have a threat level to his name.
Yeah.
Same as Madara did. Yeah. And as well,
the very
Hashirama.
name raises the bar that you didn't know could be raised.
Yeah.
And it's only there because they exist. The bar is only that high because they're the only one there.
And even like when his power was extinguished for that reason, he was still kicking ass with just his fists alone. So the man doesn't even need his power, his sword, his bankai, anything to fight, because he is already insanely strong without it. And he has worked himself to be at that level.
Absolute fucking unit he is. Yeah. So that was my 3x3 in a very weird order because I forgot that there was such thing as an order. I was gonna do it, but I didn't, and then I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm doing this in a fucking weird order.
That order was just winged anyway.
Yeah.
The initial one, and then we just all stuck to it.
That's true. That's very true.
I mean, I showed these to you a lot earlier, so if you want them changed before that,
I know, but then
you could always change.
I'm like, oh well, he's already made it. I'll just do it in a weird order.
Fair enough. Okay, next is my turn, and the way I'm doing it is column by column, left to right, and how you read a manga essentially. And my first one is the Body Improvement Club from Mob Psycho 100.
What fucking legends?
This was probably my biggest meme one. This is also going to be the one I talk the least about.
What the Body Improvement Club? I want to talk about it if you don't talk about it at all, but I fucking will.
I'm just gonna say. Imagine there was a club of Chads, and each one of them was just there. I don't know how to talk about it. Just for a comedy series as well. Just being a Chad in a comedy series, it's just sort of there, I guess. I don't know what to say. Alex, you can talk.
Alright, so Mob Psycho is a kid. He's got psychic powers, but physically he's weak as shit. right? He wants to get better at being other things. He's probably the best psychic in the world, but he's also scrawny and stupid and can't socialize for shit. Okay, he's not that stupid, but so
Pretty dumb.
it's a lot of the series is about him trying to better himself in some ways. So when given the opportunity, he's like, "Excuse me, a group of bodybuilders. You're 14-year-olds, but you're the size of fucking giants with muscles the size of my fucking skull. Can you let me in?" And these guys, without a hint of hesitation, take him in gladly, right? They are so fucking competitive. They run laps around the school, right? And this kid can't even run a quarter of it. But when he pushes his limits, when Mob is able to run past a quarter without collapsing, they're just so fucking supportive of him. Right? They go to him, and when they're just as happy for him as they are when they run fucking 10 miles in 2 seconds. They're fucking wild. Right? They're just sheer amount of charisma and the amount of what's the word? Compassion they have for just this kid who's just willing to better himself is just mind blowing. I love them so much for that.
One thing as well, and the reason why they do fit the quality of when they enter the field, they are a game
And they
changer.
enter the field and they
I want to talk about.
everything.
Shut up. So essentially, what happens is someone from their own school, a kind of thug-like character, starts a kind of rivalry with a different school. The other school does have their own psychic, but to a very shit level to Mob. Whatever.
He's very good, but
He's very good, but still shit to Mob. But still. And thus, a kind of little school war breaks out on not on that school's turf. But the thug knows he can't win. He tried, he got beat up. He can't win against these people. And so he tries to influence the Body Improvement Club to come and help. And it was only Mob who kind of a little bit got fooled. And that's how the kind of situation changed. And that's when the big men got pissed. And it's that piss level where you partially get like a little bit sad. Because these aren't men you wanna see angry. And when they enter, it's like they change everything.
These people are fighters. They're the Body Improvement Club. They're not the fucking we will punch from the face club.
Yeah.
They're non-violent.
Yeah.
They will defend each of their members like it's their own child.
Yeah.
All of them. I love them. They're amazing.
And that's why they're on my list. There we go. The Body Improvement. Next on my list.
Is this left or up? Is this left or up?
Left.
Is this, which way is this going?
Left.
Kamina.
Left.
Kamina from Gulen or Tepo to Gulen Lagan.
What to say?
If anyone knows me, and if anyone enters this series, the one thing I swear most people will say is Kamina is such a me character. He's such a me character.
He looks like a you character.
Exactly.
And that's part of the reason why I fell in love with him instantly. I feel like a lot of people also did, but I never got like that influenced by other people. I just went into Gurren Lagann blindly, without anyone telling me to. And falling in love with Kamina as well. He is just a Chad, and he is the pinnacle of every action, everything he says will change the entire world. Even if he's not there, the people who have been with him, the people who look at him, the people who have grown up aside him, quote unquote main character, the people admire him so much so that through his own inspiration and actions that they are able to change the world. Is he the strongest? No. But he definitely does help shape what's to come in the story, and Kamina as a character is one of those very inspirational characters who's just like a good bro. He is one of like the best bros in anime, in my opinion. He's such a chill bro guy, and he just does so much. And he's definitely one of the things that shapes the story of Gurren Lagann so much in comparison to other things. And it's partially the reason why I would say I like the one thing it's always compared to is what, like Kill la Kill, because they're made by the same people, right? Because like those two are their most well known, and a lot of people have their preference, and my preference is definitely Gurren Lagann over Kill la Kill, simply because of this man existing. Alex,
And
you
one
have
of the
anything to
things,
say about him?
one of the things we spoke about was when they enter the playing field, they change the story. This is not a man who enters and changes
No.
it. He already has.
Yeah.
His effect, his presence has already changed the entire world and everyone's views and how they act. Him being there has influenced them. Doesn't influence them in the moment. He has such a long-lasting, grand presence in the entire story. But he's just so fucking admirable.
Yeah.
And seeing the main character evolve into something similar to what Carmen was achieved, I thought was amazing as well.
Especially considering, like, you see this weak little kid become this idealist Chad. And
I'd say that Simon gets to Carmen's level, if not more, by the end of the series.
Yeah. But without Carmina, it's hard, right? Without Carmina, it's hard to see what Simone would have become or whatever.
Without him, the entire story wouldn't have worked.
Yeah. This is a man who wanted to escape his shitty life in a hole. He wanted to explore, he wanted to adventure, he wanted to experience freedom like no one else in his world. And that's all I can really say, is that he is a great man. If you have not seen Gurren Lagann, I would highly recommend watching it, even if it's just for seeing what happens. The next one. Joseph Joestar.
The wife cheater. No, the one that cheats his wife. Let's go.
Shut up. Out of all the JoJos in JoJo, there are very few
specifically JoJo's from JoJo.
Yeah. He's the only one who exudes this kind of Chadness. A lot of the other JoJos are either cool or whatever, or there is a secondary character who is a Chad, like Gyro Zapelli. But Joseph, the reason why he's a Chad is honestly more because he's flawed. Because he's flawed, he becomes a Chad. He's not the same person like his grandfather. Jonathan Joestar was like a very ideal gentleman. He was perfect. He was graceful. He was strong. And then you have this guy whose strategy is to run away.
Joestar's secret technique.
Run away. He's a foolish kid and everything, but still, Joseph Joestar, just the way he talks, the way he fights, the way he even cares about the people in his life, the way he is able to observe everything around him and come to conclusions and partially tell your future based on that and mess with you, even without extraordinary ability. Granted, he has Harmon and whatnot, but without the extra abilities that come on later, he's still just a monster. This man dresses like a woman just to flirt with some Nazis.
And then they called him fat.
And then they called him fat and he just put coconuts on the head or whatever it was and beat the shit out of him.
How rude. Bonk.
This man defeated probably one of the strongest threats in all of JoJo's.
I'd argue the strongest villain in the series.
Yeah. And this was out any extra ability. All he had was Harmon, and his spirit, his high, mighty...
His Harmon, his wit, his skill, and his dick.
Yep. He just does so much in the story.
And it's Joestar's secret technique.
And it's Joestar's
secret technique. All that in his arsenal.
Yeah.
And he did it.
But it's definitely, I think, one of the one characters which, because he's flawed, he feels more human. And because he feels more human, everything he does in those Chad ways makes him feel stronger, makes him feel better, and I feel makes me connect with him more than most other Joes in the series. Hence why I put him on this list, because he just is that beast, especially in his own battle tendency. You don't want to mess with him. And even when you come back to try and fight him, he will mess you up, because he will train, he will learn, he will beat your ass, and he will watch his mother be naked. And go nice to that. That's not important. But still, this is a man he made friends with a Nazi. That's not a good thing. But the Nazi is kind of a cool character. But still. I don't know. Set in World War II, his part, kind of. He just is that amazing person that I feel like if you go into the story, he's easily one of the, I think, fan favorites of the JoJo's. Simply because of who he is. And even as an old man, he's still a Chad. He's still a Chad. He's still rocking. He's still doing shit. Okay. We'll go to the next character. Which, we're going back to the right. Olivia Miller Armstrong. I don't know what to say. She's strong. She's a woman. She's strong. She's intimidating.
She's got the biggest dick in the series.
Yes, she does. The thing with Fullmetal Alchemist is one of the characters closely who we could say is a Chad is her younger brother, Alex Louis Armstrong. He's that general one. He's the one that you'll see. He has big muscles. He has that essence of Chadness. And then you see his sister, who runs her own brigade, is one of the toughest people in the entire series. And you see them fight, especially, and she whoops his ass like it's nothing. Like it's nothing. And when she definitely enters the battlefield, you know something's up. And one of my favourite moments, even still, is there is another Chad female woman in the series. And when those two women meet and fight together, it's amazing. It's amazing. She commands respect. She is strength. And everything she does in the series is just mind-boggling amazing. It's definitely my favourite character.
Good.
She is pure strength. I don't know what else to say. Alex, you got anything?
Not what you haven't already said.
I said it's just pure strength. I don't know what else to say about her. It's hard to...
She's a character that absolutely commands respect in every sense. And she does not give a fuck what anyone above her tries to tell her what to do. Like that guy, who was he? Jumping to the fucking people.
Yeah.
Oh no, the wet concrete. Immortality? Pathetic. Get out of here.
Yeah. Now, my next one. Another woman with a massive penis. A massive penis. Revi from Black Lagoon. She drinks alcohol. She has 2 guns. She swears a lot. She does not give a fuck at all. I'm just saying small things. She is just one of the most badass women in all of anime. And she's also one of the most human, which even adds to her own strength. Because she is a human. There is nothing extra. She just is strong-willed, strong-minded. She has guns. She will go pew pew pew. She will drink you under the table. I don't know what to say. It's very hard to talk about why someone is a Chad, isn't it?
See, now you know my pain.
We'll talk about someone.
One of my other things is also like, obviously not spoiling it, Caleb.
No, if you need to talk about it, talk about it.
No.
Okay.
But even still, like, I'm just trying to think about things that Revy does, and most of it's just her shooting her guns, her swearing, and her drinking. Those are the three things that come to mind the most. And of course her whole backing stuff, but that's different. I don't know. Alex, help me.
You want my help?
Yeah, help me.
Okay. She. What to say? What to say about Revy?
I don't know.
Hands Revy. She's racist.
Okay.
She's an alcoholic.
And she
She's
doesn't.
that. I don't know.
She doesn't. She just doesn't give a fuck. That's essentially her whole thing. She does not give a fuck. And hence why she is a massive chadette. Because she doesn't give a
Nothing gets
fuck.
in the way of what she wants to do.
Yeah.
And in a city that without laws, she's queen. Oh, that's a king.
Well,
Yeah,
she's not.
She can be king.
She could be, but she doesn't care that much to be.
Oh yeah, she doesn't want to be in charge.
Yeah.
So
Leave that to Balalaika.
you know, fucking cops. The cops get called and her bullshit. They come to her and like, Revy, can you please stop making a mess? You need to clean up. And she's like, no. And like, okay, have a nice day.
They don't want to mess with her. No one wants to mess with Revy. The nickname Two Hands. And I think it's even contrasted as well. There are a lot of stronger females in Black Lagoon as well, that I would call more chads than the actual men in Black Lagoon. Balalaika, Edda,
Roberta.
yeah. Shenhua, I forget her name.
Chinglish.
Yeah, Xing. Yeah.
That's why she's Revy's racist for that reason.
Yeah. But I'm just gonna move on to a character I can probably talk a lot more about.
Yeah.
The woman I give the crown for being an absolute chad.
Are you ready?
Maria Leona Vermilion. My favourite Black Lagoon Black Clover character. I just finished talking about Black Lagoon, goddamn. Black Clover character. She is the eldest child of one of the royal houses. And she does not give a fuck. And she represents strength. And she is definitely one of those characters who I put on the same level as the Wizard King. Because that's how ridiculously strong she is. And it's simply because she worked hard, she trained, she was very simple, and she is a very big wild child. She trained in nature and honed her skills through nature to become the lioness. And even in her fights, water magic comes at her. Nothing. She would just turn that into steam. Fucking come at me. Anything comes at her. She just breaks through it with her insane level of strength. Someone has copy magic, right? And they're just copying. They have all these different abilities because they've stolen them. And she just breaks through each one of them. All the strongest abilities we've seen from other chads, like Yami's dimensional slash or whatever, and she just breaks through it because she
not only she just break through it and break through ease. She's like next one, go. She doesn't even care about him because she just wants to prove she's better than him. Her flames will break through anything that he has to throw at her, and she has everything to throw at her.
She's just there going, you think you can beat me? She's definitely one of those characters who all the captains fear her. All of them do. And it's understandable because she is a monster.
I love that Black Clover is a series with so many different abstract and obscure different types of magic, and even simple magics. You can see how interesting and diverse they can be. And some of the most broken abstract concepts that we've been seeing used, from transmutation to reality warping to other bullshit.
Dream.
Right?
Land.
And then there's Maria Luna above all of them with just her fucking
fire.
Just firepower alone.
Yeah. She's definitely someone that's like, it's like, when she got told that she has to be kind of like a slight captain, and especially when she became the captain of the Royal Knights, it makes complete sense why she was chosen above everyone else, because she is definitely the closest person to a Wizard King status. It's all the captains kind of are afraid of her. She just is a monster. She is the lioness. And even just the way she says stuff, like, you think you can beat me? I'm the lioness. The lioness is the fucking hunter. Who gives a shit about the males? She is pure strength. And it doesn't even matter. This could have been anyone. And still, they just command everything. When they're in a room, it's like, nah, you're not gonna step to her. Even the king is afraid of stepping to her. And he's the one who rules over them all. But there's definitely a person you should never, ever mess with. Because you will get fucked. And
especially the last thing she did in manga.
yeah, the last thing she did in the manga, after, like, what, a 6-month training period, she came back to defeat an entity that no one else could defeat. And she did it alone. That's the thing. She did it alone. And she is a beast. Oh, she's amazing. She's amazing. She's just such a chat. I'm gonna move on.
Slight interjection. I've just found something rather funny that on Annie list, one of the 100% tag for this gorilla will die in a day is terrorism.
Okay.
That's not fucking right.
Nice information to know, I guess. My next one. Kazuki Oden. There are some characters, especially in One Piece. There are, I feel like, a lot of characters who have this essence of Chadness. They have that level of power that you know you should never mess with them. Most of the Yonko have that kind of power. Some of their crew have that power. But Odin himself was born like a fucking beast. He is a monster from birth. There are so many different things that he did before he became the man he is. And he's definitely one of the biggest people who commands big dick energy. Especially when you see him next to his wife. How does it fit? Kazuki Odin just does so much that it becomes completely understandable why so many people would follow him. He didn't want followers. He didn't care for it. He didn't want to become his father. His only goal was to leave the sheltered life that was Wano. And see the world. That's all he wanted. And to go on adventures, to join Whitebeard's crew, to join, and then to move on from Whitebeard to Roger. And in every action and every moment you see him fight, you just know he has a Chad level of strength and power, because that's just who he is. And there are so many different, almost mythical stories behind him, because he is the definition of a Chad, and he represents that and exudes that energy, that glorious glow off of him, that honestly a lot of characters in One Piece are doing. Currently Luffy, to me, I feel like he does that energy right now. Kaido, Big Mom a bit, she's more fear though. Blackbeard is just a more unusual fella. Roger especially, Rayleigh had it, Shanks definitely had it. Shanks especially, he stopped the war. When you're talking about presence, that's a big presence. And Odin is definitely someone with a massive presence, because he is a game changer. Even to the end and the hour of his death. everything this man does, says, decides to do is just the most chaddest thing I have ever seen in One Piece. And he beat them all because he is that beast. Alex, you want to say something?
No, you pretty much got a couple.
It was very hard to say anything about him without spoiling shit.
Well, there's this man from his very birth, right? He was already fucking bitches. So he had it all, and he had the strength to do what he wanted, but can't stop shit, right? And that's his starting point. The starting point is he is that strong individual, and then you see through his backstory him grow to be someone who what cares for others, someone who even if he doesn't want to, he's fit to lead, he's born to bring his country and everyone around him into a better place, right?
Yeah.
He's
open the borders.
It was even when he went even as a kid, through his younger years, of course, he was immature and he was childish, all the way up to when he was 16.
When he entered the roads, all the men said, "Hide your wives, hide your daughters."
We see him, and then we see that he was this young, immature, bitch fucking character, and I loved seeing him grow from a delinquent who could do what he wanted to someone who not only had all these responsibilities but was able to carry them and to bring the people he cared about to prosperity. And then the sacrifices he made to keep his family from falling into despair. And I just admire that growing stuff. Love that man.
Even just Odin himself. He's the only person as well to lay a mark and scar the being known as the strongest beast in the world. Sure, there is the strongest man in the world, but this is the strongest beast in the world. That's that person's epithet. And he's the only person to scar them. A deep scar that even he fears. And if he senses any part of his haki or aura, he feels it. And even when I was talking about it currently, he is that picture of a Chad. And he honestly reminded me a little bit of Kamina while I was talking. Simply for the fact is, there is another person in his life who looks up to him, admires him, and wants to grow up to become him. And they're both scared little fucks before becoming the Chad that they're looking up to. Obviously, in Odin's case, this is Momo, who is a character I am heavily enjoying, simply because of that story alone. Of him being a scared little weakling to wanting to be more and more like this absolute monster. And every action he takes, and anyone, I think, who sees what he does and sees how he treats the people around him would just say that, yes, he's a Chad. There's no debate. There's no debate. It just is a Chad. My next one. Satoru Gojo. I mean,
which anime is this from?
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Okay.
The one you said that does my dick there, which is true.
There are a few characters in the series that have this Chad level of power, but this is just a teacher, just not the principal. He's just the teacher. He mainly teaches the first year students, whatever. He's just the teacher, you know. He's just that's essentially who he is. He's just the teacher. He just does this thing. Except there's a little bit of him that the villains are terrified of him. The villains have a warning system because he exists. because he is a broken character. Someone who is a goofball, but he's a monster beast that you don't want to mess with at all. A lot of the villains are honestly afraid of him, and so they should be. A volcano tried to fight him, and he just blew on it, essentially.
He shut on that.
He shut on that volcano. Even in that picture I have for him, he's just dancing, he's gliding, but the words say, "I will murder you." It's hard to talk. He's definitely one of those characters in Jujutsu Kaisen, a lot like Genryusai from Bleach, where he's the character that you should not mess with, and there's even warning systems, and people prepare to fight this person because they can't deal with him, because he's that just monstrously powerful man who still just went off to go shopping just because he could. They had to figure out a way to lock him out of a battlefield because he's too broken. But they still couldn't. They still couldn't let it. Alex, you got anything to say about him?
Yeah, expand on what you said. So, he's a miracle child, right? The moment he was born, the entire Jujutsu world completely shifted, right? Because immediately he's born, he's already one of the strongest sorcerers there are. So anyone trying to fuck with the society that's been held with are likely to get fucking out.
Yeah.
His entire, literally, ever since he's born, he's completely changed how that world works.
Yeah.
And for a large majority of the story, the villains aren't trying to win. They're just trying to figure out how to do it without him noticing. Or trying to do something without... And the only precaution they need to take before they enact their plan is to get Satoru Gojo away.
Yes.
There are different techniques that can be used. One of the earlier arcs, a barrier is put around the school, right? And there's a condition behind it. The condition is keep it, the purpose of it is to keep Satoru Gojo out of the barrier.
Mm-hmm.
The reverse of that is the cost of that means every other sorcerer can go in and out as they fucking please. It's meant that that's the equivalent exchange. You can have every single other sorcerer possible can come into that dome, but Satoru Gojo cannot. That's the one fucking condition they had to have to get Satoru Gojo's attention, and he still broke through that barrier. which implies that he himself is stronger than every other sorcerer on the planet combined. His very presence completely... He's the definition of if he's there, you're fucked.
Yeah.
His very presence does completely change what happens in the story.
There are probably very few characters I can reside as. There's probably about like 5 characters I can say are real chads in Jujutsu Kaisen. And Gojo is just at the top of them, ruling them all because no one can reach his level. The other ones, of course, Toji, my second favorite character, and probably the character I'm most like. Of course, Maki, Zenin.
Maki.
Maki has to be there, and Alex and I... Yep.
We can't not.
We can't. Obviously, yeah, Todo. And the last one, your favorite, Alex.
My boy.
Your boy. Kento Nanami. Those are 5 characters who you just have to respect them, man. You can't not. And my last and final character on this Chadsley lists of all time is the one, the only, Sinbadu. Sinbad from Magi.
That's right.
In Magi, this man first shows up naked, which is already a good sign for me because he's amazing. That's his first appearance, is just him naked in the middle of some random little forest.
He took a nap in a forest and the thieves robbed
Yeah,
him.
he got robbed by thieves. But this man is the pure essence of Chad in this world. And he's the one person that most people fear. Simply because even if you go back to his story, this is not someone who was raised as a noble. He was raised as a child who watched his mother die. His father was a survived the war only barely. His leg was cut off. His father was weak, and he got to see the people around him die slowly. And the way he grows and evolves throughout the story as well. He's just a peasant, but because of his intelligence and everything he does, the actions he takes, the people who were able to support him in the past to become what he is, and even just to beat all the dungeons, and to essentially have 7 jinns in this world, and then the jinn spirits, the world of Magi say, nah, you're not allowed anymore. You can't have any more jinns. You are already too strong. You have 7. No more. No more Sinbad. No more. You're not allowed more. You're too broken. Fuck off. You're not allowed more. Which is something that is completely unheard of in this world. Having more than one jinn spirit is crazy. But this man has 7. He went through 7 dungeons. He also went through the first dungeon when the dungeons were starting to reappear as well. He got that first jinn. And became the stuff of legend over time. Even just going through the different political things to create and set up his own country. Whether it was creating income, making friends with neighbouring countries and having ambassadors for those countries be his kind of political structure. He made allies, he made friends with these people. He gave them part of his power. He ruled as a king. And he's the one person a lot of people fear simply because he is a monster. And even when he's goofy as fuck, or looks goofy as fuck, you still don't want to go near him because he is someone that a lot of people respect, even though he's a bit of a dumbass. But hey, what can I say? I like my dumbasses to be Chads. Especially the male ones. Yeah, that's my list. Alex, got anything to say about Sinbad?
All I would say about Sinbad is you talk about his first introduction being buck naked, right?
Yeah.
He had everything stolen from him, including the things he had his gins imbued in.
Yeah.
Right? What he did the following arc, he did by sheer wit, skill, and charisma to become the leader of a fucking resistance without even really trying.
Yep.
Right? This character was supposed to follow Alibaba, right? Trying to be a leader, trying to help those around him. And Sinbad is not only walking him through it, he's carrying him through it. He's like, okay, this, I'll do it. I got it. He doesn't. He's able to pretty much overthrow an entire country just by being himself. That's without any of his power or his strength. And then, of course, he gets all his shit back. And we go to see the country and the countries and everyone he rules under. And we just see just how much this character has, how much influence this character has over this world. And just how much this world
And
is also sick of his shit.
It's also a very short time as well. Like, he started young, and this was his ambition and dream. But even that, from a young dream, things change for him. Because things need to change. Because you can't have the same ideal in the real world when other political structures and factions change the very system that you're trying to create. You partially have to become a part of that system. And then Sinbad just does it the best, I guess.
See, the difference between Gojo and Sinbad, like Gojo from the beginning already has this power. He just wields it.
Yeah.
Incredibly well. He's got everything, and he plays very quick and changes everything. Sinbad, I admire because he's able to accomplish so much with so little.
Yeah.
Every time it sounds me, and incredible what this character is able to achieve.
Yeah.
And that's why I love the character personally.
He's also respectable because he's calm, he's cool, and he's very collected as a character,
Yeah,
even when
he's
he's
very
fighting.
respected.
I remember like he just became this like little imp dwarf being because of one of his gins. And everyone in Syndria knew what was happening. And everyone in Syndria just went, fuck, fuck, fuck.
Well, there he is again.
And everyone who didn't know was like, what's happening, what's happening? He did something, and it's like, ah! I still just love the fact that he can't go into any more dungeons because he has too many. Alright, well, that's my list done. Leaving one final list. Alexander.
It's my turn?
It's your time.
Okay, some of these I do have things to talk about, others I don't. One I have been thinking about recently. We'll do the S time. Bottom right, Biscuit Oliver from Barker.
Yes.
Let's give it a preface to what the series is. I don't care about
It's
spoilers, 'cause
ridiculous.
why the fuck would you? It is fucking batshit crazy.
Yes.
The idea is, it's just a fighting anime. Buff men fighting, right? Every one of these different characters has a different fighting style, different art towards them, and they're masters their own skill, passed down from generations. They are the peak of the fucking craft, right? Our main character, Baki, is learning all these different things because he's trying to become the strongest in the world just so he can beat his father in a fight, because his father is the strongest. Therefore, his father kills his father cunt. We love him. He's a cunt.
Yep.
Right? Here is Biscuit Oliver. He doesn't fight. He doesn't even want to fight. Right? He doesn't even want to be shot. His one goal in life is to be able to pick up his wife, right, and take her places. Unfortunately, her wife just happens to be the most morbidly obese human on the fucking planet. Therefore, the strength he needs to accomplish that just so happens to be the the pinnacle of human strength, right? His muscles are so fucking thick they're bulletproof. That's how strong he is. And because he's now top three human being on the planet in terms of strength, he's the strongest, right? Not most powerful because he doesn't have all the skill to it, right? He joins these fucking tournaments just because he can, right? He can do whatever the fuck he likes. He goes against this guy, his fighting style, right? He puts his hands in his pockets and they're there to hide his intent. He strikes when they're not paying attention, when they're not realizing what he's trying to do. But he's always in a fighting stance, hands in his pockets, right? He does that and he hits this Oliver. Doesn't even phase him. He's like, oh, I see how your technique works. So he mimics it, right? He puts his hands in his pockets, doesn't have pockets, he's wearing underwear. So he puts his hands in his underwear, right? And he walks up to his enemy who's been training for decades in this fighting style, and who's been dominating tournaments with it. He goes up to him and he does what he did. He takes his hand out of his pocket and then just smacks the cunt. One tap, he's gone. This cunt is a piece of shit, right? He goes up to people who have trained decades of their lives and dedicated themselves to their martial art, and he's going like, "Fuck you! They mean nothing to the power of my strength. My sheer strength alone trumps everything you have," and it's fucking amazing.
Yep.
Seeing some of the most recent season, one of his fights, leader of country, he has everything to fight for, right? He needs to be strong. He's trained himself and his army through incredibly arduous things to get to this peak of his strength, right? He pales in comparison to just this bodybuilder
I
who
wanted to pick up
cannot
my
take
wife.
damage, who just wants to pick up his wife. He doesn't have any other grand goals aside from being a dickhead. It's proving that your martial arts are bullshit just by his muscles. That's this character, right? This world, this entire series, which focuses on martial arts, he exists to say fuck your martial arts. That's why he's on this list. That's why I love him.
It's also
He just is
heavily
fucking
batshit
present.
crazy.
He just does what he fucking. He is Mr. Unchained. He does not abide by any of the rules of the world because none of them can possibly keep him chained. And this is just by pure strength alone. He earned it. And I love that. That's why Biscuit Oliver is on this list. Alright. Next is Class 1 Reinhardt from Blood Bouquet Battlefront Hikai Sensen. I don't actually know what to say, but he definitely deserves to be here.
He just deserves it.
The
He's a
main
leader,
character
he's a
of this
king.
one is another one of these weak characters who has a special knack to him. Right? He has the ability to see anything. He's got the eyes of God. He can't fight, help hold himself in a fight. So when he needs to get something done, he calls on his friends, right? The ones that actually fight. So that's when Reinhardt is the head of this organization in this fucking batch of crazy city, and he has, I think, like 1,000 different kind of blood arts.
Yep.
Any of them trump any villain they've ever had to face. Right? Not a single one of them was able to stand in front of him and beat him. But aside from the fact that he's the strongest of that organization and in that world, he's also a fucking incredibly compassionate individual. Right? He loves all the people around him. He loves uh, everyone that works with him. He considers them his friends. So he'd do anything for them. And he's so fucking gullible too. Honestly.
True.
He's here because his very presence does change the tone of the story. When he's there, you know everything's going to be all right. He's there to protect you. He's there to help. And he's not nearly as powerful as Gojo in his world, but it's just commanding charisma and his unyielding compassion for those around him. That's why he's here.
Yep.
Escanor.
The sin of pride.
So every one of the seven deadly sins, each of them embody their particular sin in their own specific way. This is Escanor, sin of pride. His power is like sun magic or some shit.
Yep.
He's the cockiest bastard on the planet, but he is the very definition of. Okay, so you know there's such thing as cocky, right? But he's cocky. He's prideful, but he knows he's right. Because at the peak of his possible power, which is midday, he is the strongest possible person there. There is no need to get stronger. There is no need for the games or tricks. He is there and he will win. And he knows that. His commanding presence is just fucking astronomical in this world. Unfortunately, it only lasts for a few minutes in the day.
Yeah.
He's still strong throughout the rest of the day. It's sunlight, but
Yeah.
and then
He's like a
of course,
reverse werewolf.
yeah, he's just
He's
reverse
a-
powered by the sun. And when the sun is at its peak, he is at his peak.
At night, he's
And
a.
I know,
He's a
and I know his power even escalates further beyond that.
Yeah.
Material I have not yet seen.
At night, he's just a kind of like a weak little man.
Yeah,
And at day,
he's a stick.
he's the pinnacle of humankind. And that's another thing. Out of all of the seven deadly sins, he's the most human.
Yeah.
Because he's the only one.
Let's look at the two humans, right? Okay, so there's Barn and there's Espinal.
Yeah.
Right? Barn is a human, but he also had this curse on him. This
He was also
privilege,
raised
I
by
forget what it
beasts.
was. He was raised by beasts and thieves and shit. And he's got this immortality to him. He physically cannot die, so he can go into any situation and come out of it all right.
Yeah.
So even if he has regular human durability, he's going to come out on top because he's not someone who can be. Escanor doesn't have a trick. He doesn't have this curse. He doesn't have any specific thing. He was just in a regular family of nobles, right?
Yeah.
The amount in this world, it is just not possible, really, for a human to be at the level of these demons and these gods, these other races. There is a class system, and the humans are at the very bottom. But this man with this magic at this time of day is actually the strongest individual there is.
There is a person in the story, right, who, if you have hatred towards him, you essentially become weak.
Oh.
And you know what Escanor says to him as he slowly walks closer and closer to this man? Why should I bear hatred? Why should I bear any hatred towards someone who's obviously weaker than myself? I only pity them.
He pities every fucking cunt around him.
He doesn't have hatred for you, he just
That is
pities you.
Escanor, the sin of pride. Right? No way I couldn't put him on it, even if I'm not as vested into 7 deadly sins as I once was. Hello, Benamara. How are you doing today?
Hi.
Not you. What would you like to say about Benamara?
Um, he's a very me character. Um,
Yeah. It's
Which
all right.
series is this?
This is
Fire
Fire
Force.
Force.
He has two powers, which is very unusual for the story. But I think more so he's a Chad through the actions he takes and the way the people around him in the town actually respect him. And to see how they respect him and like he's also the one that like everyone goes to is like he's the strongest among us. He's the strongest one. And like everyone in the patrol kind of know that no one can really beat this man. I feel like there are other Chads you could have put on this list as well from the series, like Obi, simply because Obi doesn't actually have a power, and which makes him very impressive.
Yeah,
But
Obi is very impressive.
but with Benimaru, it's just I think the definitely it comes more from the people around him, and that shaped your view of how I see Benimaru as just this great man who people respect and is strong and has earned this strength and level through the actions he takes and how he goes about everything he does. He also goes flying on the base essentially
fucking broomstick. Yeah.
in a broomstick. He just goes flying. He goes.
Benamara is part of the anomaly in this world because there are these generations of fire soldiers.
And he has a
He's got
generation
both.
1 and 2.
There's a generation 2 and 3 because one is.
Oh wait, yeah,
two.
Tsunto, sorry. Alright, so.
So he's got generation 2 and 3. So generation 2 is to control fire, and generation 3 is to make fire.
Yeah.
He's able to do. He's mastered both.
Mm.
Not that he can master it. He just was born with it, and then he's mastered it as well.
Yeah.
He's the leader of what's considered the strongest firefighting company.
Yep.
Firefighting is called the word.
Yes, he is.
Right. He is one of the characters that because most of these characters here are by the definition of if they exist, they do change the tone of the story. And Benamaru is absolutely fitting that role. And he's completely anti-government as well. He does whatever the fuck he likes. He's only a captain by name because of what was it? What's the reason for that again?
Pardon? What'd you say?
What's the reason he's a captain? If he doesn't conform to their ideas and what they do,
wasn't it wasn't it like the promise with his friend or whatever?
Oh yeah, because it was one of his friends.
Yeah. Because of his friends and the promise they made to them, he promised that he would become strong and that he would lead them, even though he thinks that he's a failure and that his friend should be the real leader of the company.
He doesn't even feel he is the strongest in the room.
Yeah.
Like Espinols and your some biscuits Oliver's.
Yeah.
I think that's right. That's right.
But I mentioned Obi because I just thought we should mention Obi as another
Obi's mentioned because he
doesn't have power.
He doesn't have anything, but he still is able to keep up with the rest of his squad.
He's also a leader, and he has to work out constantly every single day just to keep up with them.
I love that.
Yeah.
Obi as well as Benamara.
Yeah.
Couldn't not add Benamara because of his impact to characters and the
kind of like how with Gojo we mentioned other characters who also have this Chad presence. Yeah.
Not much I can really say on Benamara, but you will if you watch it you will understand or read it.
Yeah.
All is fair in the world of muscles. This is the main character of my new favorite manga, Martial Magic and Muscles.
Oh, I love it.
Now, one of the common traits I've got with some of my characters is that there's this status quo, and then there's this character who defies it by sheer bullshittery. We've got Biscuit Oliver, who in a world of martial arts just bodybuilds and just trumps everyone. I've got a very similar concept here. Marshall has no magic in a world which is just all magic. It's like your Black Clover Zoo. It's similar to Harry Potter. There's similar class system to Black Clover.
Yeah.
In Black Clover, magic is everything. Same in this world. Magic is everything. And he was born without it. So his adopted father, when he found him, was like, okay, you're not going to survive.
It should also be clarified that this is not an unusual event other people have been born without magic, but they usually get executed. They essentially kill the babies.
Yeah, you essentially get rid of it. Right? And this
Yeah.
kid, and this adoptive father's like, I don't want this child to die, so I need to make sure. So I don't have he doesn't have enough magic to defend him himself. So he's like, you need to get stronger. So he tells him to work out every single day. He really fucking sticks to that regime. One of the appeals of Mashal, the series, is that there are all these things that require magic to do. You need to use your wand to be able to fly in a broomstick, get through this magic hedge. You have to be able to.
It's like he sees people cooking with magic, and he's just like, "What's the point? You can just do it by hand."
You have to tame this beast. You have to cook with the specific spell, right? And there's all these tasks to do. There's this door sealed by magic. How does he get through? There's this guy who shoots fucking fireballs. What's he gonna do? He's gonna smack it. Right?
There's a sheet of paper with words on it that are constantly moving. How is he gonna answer the question? He just intimidates the paper.
Right? He rolls for intimidation. Right? Or what's amazing about the series is the way the author constantly sidelines us with Mash's dumbass fucking methods to countering magic in this world. And I fucking love his fucking magic wand as well. Especially last chapter. His magic I'm so glad I cannot predict what the fuck he can do next. Because anytime he's not on screen, it's just your regular magic world.
Yeah.
Right? We understand what's happening. We understand what's going to happen next. Right? We know these stereotypes, these character archetypes. We know what the stuff they can do even before their backstories happen. And when that happens, we know what is going to happen. We understand the themes of these characters, the plots happen, the plot, the world. Everything is simple, makes sense, and kind of boring. And then you turn the page, and then guess who the fuck is into the room? So by definition, his very presence in his own story completely changes exactly what is going to happen. It is one of the most beautiful things I've read, and one of the best new mangas out there.
Good story.
I love my boy Mash. All is fair in the world of muscles. We'll get to it.
We will.
Clark Kent's Superman with this kid.
Kal-El.
I know.
Yeah, but you didn't say it.
I don't give a fuck. I don't fucking call Goku Kakarot.
Why?
I don't give a fuck.
He's not Vegeta.
I'm not Vegeta. I'm not from the planet Krypton.
So.
Anyway. Superman. Okay, so there's characters I like Captain America, who are from nothing, and then they understand what it is to be weak. And because then they get the strength and they're able to be humble because they know what it was like to be weak. Superman may not be able to fit that, but for some reason he feels even more endearing. He's a character. He's one of the characters. I obviously don't live in a DC universe. Superman isn't real, but when he's there, right? Whenever there's this stress, whenever something's going wrong, when you know that if he's there, everything's going to be all right. His very presence does change the way that the battlefield works. It's not, oh fuck, here he is. It's, oh thank fuck, here he is. Here is Superman. He's here to save us. This is why I feel Superman is one of the most underrated characters in DC. Because people just see him as, oh, he's the blue Boy Scout, fucking yippee Superman. Batman's way more interesting, and maybe he is. But that's not why I love Superman. I love Superman because he's willing to do what he must for the betterment of every single human he can possibly save. He's there to save the. He's the symbol of hope, right? And he's able to inspire hope into the citizens of Metropolis and the world, and that is incredible to me. I previously had Thor in here. I just spoke with America, and I couldn't. And after thinking about it, I couldn't not have Superman here. I haven't read many Superman comics.
I was reading Superman comics last night and this morning, so I have some things to say.
Yeah, I read some. And every time, especially with Jimmy Olsen, just able to call Superman his friend, able to help him and get him out of any such sticky situation, able to achieve the impossible, right? All for the betterment of those around him. That's incredible.
Mm.
Exactly why I chose Superman to be on here.
Another thing is, I do heavily agree with the thing where he does feel like he is overlooked a lot of the times as with comics because he is the blue
He
boy
looks
scout.
generic.
Obviously, a lot of people do love Superman and they have their own reasons for Superman. Part of the reason why I think Superman is one of the most interesting characters is as much as yes, he was always strong. He has this strength. He could have easily turned out to be someone else. Or another thing with Superman is as well is like he was raised to be human. That's one of the biggest and most interesting parts of Superman to me. Is that he was raised to be Superman. He wasn't raised to be this hero, this great person. Hence why when Wonder Woman lassos of truth to him to tell me who are you, he says Clark Kent because that's who he truly believes he is. He's just a regular human person, and Clark Kent is that identity, that part of him that he shines most of. When it happens to Batman, Batman says Batman.
Batman's different as well. To
Yeah.
him, he is not Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is a secret identity.
Yeah.
He is the Batman. He is the Batman.
Batman.
He is Batman.
Yeah.
And we won't talk too much on him, but that right there, that he is the Batman, I love that.
Yeah. But with
That little
Superman,
thing there.
it's a lot more about that human nature. And even when like Lex Luthor, one of the most iconic supervillains of all time, you see the way Lex talks about Superman, the way he. Honestly, I feel like he's very reasonable, except for a little bit more insane. In terms of this heavy racism, even towards Superman, simply because he is an alien, and simply because he can do things that normal humans can't. And if this is a character who changes the presence of a story, yes, definitely, this is a person who changes how the story works. When Superman dies, the stories that follow are trying to find his next successor because the world needs this beacon of strength and hope because the world can't do it without it. And even in so many different series and whatnot, there is always a Superman clone because you can't not do a Superman clone, I guess. And even just Superman himself, he is the original superhero. And to see how far he's come and everything he acts and does, the way he acts as Clark Kent, the bumbling oaf that people can't believe that this is the powerful strength that is Superman. It makes it so interesting to see how people can't recognize someone who's right in front of their face as being someone else, simply because even as humans, we wear masks to hide the fact that we could be someone else. You don't know I could be a serial killer. That's not. I'm not.
We know you're a serial killer.
I'm not.
We're aware of this.
What? But yes, Superman definitely is someone who even I had that view on him as he's just kind of he is that blue boy scout. He's kind of a bit boring, blah blah. But then when I had to reevaluate myself and reevaluate how I viewed different comic book characters, Superman came out looking pretty good, but simply for the fact that although yes, I can see why people think of that reason, but it's all the little interesting and intricate parts of who he is that I appreciate a lot more. Even some of the bigger moments is when he's communicating with Batman. I think that was one of the things that always got to me is like anytime he talks to Batman, these are two heavily different people. This is day and night. This is power versus human. These are two very different people. But the way even just Bruce Wayne can beat the shit out of Superman.
Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne, Batman can beat the shit. And even with that, like you have other stories with like The Nail where they need Superman because a world without Superman, they need a Superman because the world is going to hell and they're facing threats that they can't beat without a Superman. And if Superman doesn't exist, so many other characters wouldn't exist who are on that power level. Like, sure, you have the Flash who would still exist, Green Lantern, Batman, Wonder Woman, because Superman's not a big part of their story. But still, you would lose so much in this world without Superman.
Because you need
You need that strength.
that hope. That
Yeah.
once again, I want to stress that whilst many of these characters are here because of their presence to change the story for like the oh fuck, so Superman for me, it's
And I will still be most afraid of the Flash. Because even when the Flash changes the fucking timeline, Superman, he remembers his previous life, so Superman is present. Superman wasn't found by Martha and Jonathan in this alternate Flashpoint timeline. He was essentially found by the government, so he was locked up in an alien facility. And so he was raised weak. He's a bony guy who's never seen the sun, so he has no power. He hasn't been absorbing the yellow sun's rays. He hasn't become strong, and so when he gets out of the Flash and Thomas Wayne and Cyborg kind of help him out of the tough situation, he sees the sun, and all his powers just come to him in a ballistic manner because he should have had these powers from a gradual growth by being raised on this planet or whatnot, but being forced to be pushed out to this amazing world, he just breaks loose and becomes such a enormous even just threat in this world simply because it's Superman and it's hard not to beat Superman. Like literally, the Elseworld story that starts off, you flip like the first few pages after like the shit that says Superman's pod crashed somewhere else. It just you open the page and it says Mayor Lex. Because Lex is successful, he's doing his shit because there's no one to contend with him. There's no one to call him out on his bullshit. Or you have other stories where his pod lands in Russia and he becomes the Cold War becomes something very different, simply because Superman exists, and that world is changed because Superman is Russian, or raised as a Soviet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a game changer, no matter what happens. He definitely changes the story. We can move on.
I don't think I've said plenty to say about Superman. So, next.
Kenpachi Zero.
Kenpachi Zero. What the fuck, bro? What the fuck? How dare you have a series with so many different interesting fun ties and she has all these different powers. And this guy's power up is two-handed sword goes strong.
Wait, speaking on that, we talked a lot about Genryusai before, about how big dick he is. But when Genryusai saw him kind of destroy the whole mountain, the dojo with just two hands, he's like, alright, no more. Yeah, I'm not teaching you anymore. No more.
I will teach you. Fucking destroys mountain. You have learned enough.
You've learned enough. You've learned one thing. No, that's enough. That's enough.
Because it was. In the final arc, there were 5 different like anomaly kind of characters.
Yeah.
5 different people that you had to keep an eye on. There was Ichigo for his potential, Aizen for his intellect, Kisuke for his tricks. Who was it Genryusai?
I'm not sure if it was Genryusai.
Because the 5 they had to tell 5 of them from before they invented Soul Stone, 5 they had to keep their eyes on. I think Genryusai was one of them.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. I can't think who the other would be. And then there was Kenpachi Zaraki for his sheer fucking strength. This is the third character here. For their just sheer fucking strength. Like not because of their unique arts, their abilities. It's just because they've got a lot of fucking muscle to them. I've just realized this trend. Biscuit, National, and Apple Party.
This Kenpachi actively handicaps himself.
Yeah.
He actively puts stuff on him so that when he fights, he is at a disadvantage.
Even
Because
subconsciously.
he knows it'll be too easy.
He even does it subconsciously, and he's still a monster.
Because
Like when he puts
he
the
wants
eye
that
patch on.
challenge. He wants that fight. Right?
He
And
was-
because if he doesn't do that, he can't get that fight he wants.
And the fact
I just
Now-
like I just want to say, I just like the fact that he's the only one who didn't go through the academy, right? He just kind of rocked up. He killed the previous Kenpachi, and that's how he became captain.
I was about to say that because like
Okay.
everyone else they have to like awaken Bunkai, or they have to be already extremely powerful, or you could come in and kill the captain to become a captain, and
Well, that only
I
works
think
for
he's
the
the only one
Kenpachi
that's
squad.
done it. I think he's the only one that's done that. I don't think any others have done that. He's the only one that's actually come in, killed a fucking captain, without a Bunkai or a fucking Shikai, and just
No, his sword is always in Shikai. He's so strong, his sword can't be in his original state. It's always Shikai.
it does have a proper Shikai form, but yeah, it's sort of this. Its power is always out, but it's not. Yeah, it's weird. His sword's weird.
And then of course he goes massive fucking battle axe.
Yeah.
Okay. That fight, by the way, you've got a character with this concept of an imagination. He's able to conceivably create and do anything, and then what beats him? Sheer fucking strength.
It wasn't
There-
even. It wasn't even that. It was more that
This sheer
the
power behind him.
kid with the imagination just looked at Kenpachi and like, this cunt's a monster. I imagine him to be a monster. I can't help but imagine him to be a monster. Thus, he's a monster and beats me. That's the only reason he lost, because Kenpachi was that intimidating.
He went grrr.
Yes. He's just that. He's got that much fucking. Oh, it's the charisma again.
He doesn't. He's not charismatic.
Charisma is in a different sense. But he's just that intimidating. He's just got that much power behind him. I also remember one of my favorite scenes. I talked about this in the Bleach review. We went through several chapters of all these characters, all these captains or vice captains losing their bankais to these medallions from the Quincy's, right? They use their bankais and then they're like, mine, thank you. 26 total of these cunts, not all of them were there fighting, right? All these captain class level cunts. All of them here to steal their bankais, to become even stronger and fight them with that, right? 26 unique individuals that Susei Kubo has written. By the time we're introduced to some of them, Kenpachi's already gutted them. Skewered on his sword over his shoulder, because he didn't have a Bankai to steal. He's there by his own merit, without the need of a Bankai, and he kills 3 of them.
And we literally only see his Bunkai towards the end.
When he has to fight one of the very, very strongest Quincy's. Who works miracles. That's not. I love the Quincy's.
It's even hard to call that a Quincy at that point as well, because it's the heart of Rayo.
Ah!
He was fighting
Wait,
for-
it's just. It's so. I love the Bleach's use of powers with them. I talked about it with Black Clover, but I like using concepts as powers. Like, because this concept runs with these certain rules, this is how it would work. With Shun Suite's games, and then with his Bankai was a theater. I love that when he used his Bankai, it was almost a diminishment of sorts, where he forced the rules of his own power onto the enemy, and then they had to play through this death scene with it. I think that's just one of the best things in any series to be able to use these concepts and run with them so creatively. And then my favorite character ends up being the guy with the biggest muscles. Who says, "Fuck you, fucking concepts. I'm better than you." Like, Larry Leonard's my favorite, but
I
it's just a
remember
fantastic example of it.
I remember talking to Caleb before we started Bleach, and I just said to him, "He's gonna love Kenpachi."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I said to him. He's gonna love Kenpachi.
Yeah. My boy. Ah.
Oh wait, I want to do this. Can I do the next one? I want to do the intro. Destiny, fate, dreams, these unstoppable ideas are held deep in the heart of man. As long as there are people who seek freedom in this life, these things shall not vanish from the earth.
Thank you. Which one was that?
Gold Roger.
3? No, I know who.
What?
But which opening?
Oh, that's just the quote from Roger that I think's in the third
Yeah, and then they
opening.
use it, and I just remember in the opening,
Yeah,
in the double thing.
I think it's in a few openings actually.
Anyway,
No.
Gold D Roger. I put him here because I thought for all the people in One Piece, this is with some more context. We got a bit more into we get more into his backstory later on. I won't reveal those, of course, to Caleb. Just saying this is why he's here, because we actually get more
I'll say one
of him.
thing. I was commenting all about the other One Piece character being such a big Chad of Chads. Roger one-tapped him.
Roger stole his backstory from him. He showed up and he was the main character of that story. And there's very little I can truly say about this character. Not just because of spoilers, but because there is just still so much we don't know.
But you also continue to see the ripples that just he has on everyone around him.
The effect he has on the series, and still continues to have on the series. Ever since
over 20 years past his death.
He found the One Piece.
Yeah.
Right?
He did something impossible.
Traveled and conquered the entire Green Line and became the king of the fucking pirates. What the fuck?
And when if you're a One Piece fan and you know what each part of the world entails, especially the Grand Line and the New World, it's kind of ridiculous to think that this man was able to do that.
Did he have the highest bounty of any pirate scene?
Yes.
Yeah, who was the most wanted fucking pirate, the highest bounty we've ever seen, billions.
Currently, it's Kaido.
Well, yeah, I don't give a shit about that. I don't know. I'm here about.
But even then, still, Whitebeard's bounty was bigger than Kaido's.
Oh yeah, but then the unfortunate happened. Gold Roger. I'm gonna say the word again. His fucking charisma and his skill.
Oh no, this is definitely charisma.
It's definitely charisma. I'm using it properly this time. He's not this character that even commands respect. He's a character. He's just as dumb and fucking idiotic as Luffy sometimes. He just wants to have that fun. He's like, oh, I want to fight that one. The most feared man in the world, dangerous pirate in the world. Fucking, oh, that one.
I think he's also
charging at him. He's like, I'm gonna fucking let's do it. Let's fucking fight him.
It's also very interesting as well when you have a man who does not have a devil fruit, still command such a presence, and even
devil fruit.
Go toe to toe with one of the strongest and most ridiculous powers in One Piece, being Newgate's power.
Yeah. He went toe to toe with Whitebeard. Whitebeard is the strongest human planet, obviously after Roger's execution, right? He was second to Roger, and Roger didn't have a fucking devil fruit. He didn't have this broken. No, not only that. Whitebeard had the most powerful paramecia type devil fruit, and Roger was still able to beat him, or be better than him. And also that fight kind of ended more of a draw.
Yeah.
But even if it ended in a draw, that is still a fantastic fucking feat.
Mm. He stood his ground. He took it after one tapping Odin. I think it's definitely like just the way he influences other people. Because the closest person to the kind of quality that Roger holds is Shanks. And anytime Shanks appears, you know something's partially up. The man stopped the war just with his presence.
Yeah. That's why I always want to put Shanks in here, just because of what he did
Yeah.
very influence.
Also, what can I say about this Chad? He had the god of the pirates on his crew, Buggy D Clown.
It is the song, the charisma, the presence he holds, to be able to capture the hearts of people, just like Luffy. Alright, well, this is like, because obviously Luffy is still growing. This is the peak of what it can be. Except it wasn't. He knew he wasn't. He he was able to conquer the Grand Line and find One Piece. Even he knew that he wasn't the one. Which Luffy, that's funny next. It was not Luffy. It was someone else, and then to do it, and Luffy ended up being that person. I love that humility. I love that strength behind it. I love that he knew what was coming, what his own fate, and still was able to accept that. And I think that's about as much as I can say about Lord Roger.
Mm. One other thing I could probably say about Roger is the fact that I talked a little bit with Whitebeard about this monster, and Roger still beat him. A monster that commanded monsters, and Roger beat that man.
He was the strongest in life.
Mm. That's another little thing.
Now.
Mm.
Yeah. Where do I begin?
I'll kill
Where do I
you.
begin with this one?
I'll kill you. His favourite words, I'll kill you.
If not surpass your limits. I'll kill you. Believe me. No, his favorite word. Surpass your limits, I'll kill you. Shut up, I'm taking a shit.
And they take a dump. I mean, he's a foreigner.
Oh yeah, early character.
He's the only character not from this I wouldn't say country, continent.
Yeah, continent's right there.
Yeah. Because there are 4 countries in the continent, so. He's the only person who's not from this continent. He's from a weird place that we don't know. It's Japan. Or whatever the equivalent of Japan is in this world. The man has a sword from this world. Also, he has one of the greatest backstories in all of anime. That is true.
There's one page of backstory.
One day, a fisherman had a son. Blah blah blah. He went to go fishing. He got into an accident. He washed up on shore. He got bullied for being different. He grew up and beat the shit out of all the people who bullied him.
That's Yami's superhero for you.
He's definitely
Yami's superhero is the captain of the Black Wolves, as we all know. One of the rowdiest, dumbest, stupid fucking squads in that world. Right? We've got all these high class ones run by nobles, and then Yami has his own little fucking ragtag group of fucking idiots. There's a merit point system. He has negative 100 of them.
Mm.
That's the Black Bulls for you.
It's also
He's
interesting.
gathered up all these wildly unique individuals.
And
he's got them because he sees something in them.
Yeah.
He sees the potential in them to grow and be stronger. So his entire thing is for them to surpass the limits, even if they don't like him, even though they accept him, even if they don't like being in the building. He is able to inspire, threaten really his squad into being more than what everyone sees them as. These like discarded nobles that no one likes. These peasants, which no one thinks that has any worth to them. This peasant with a small rudimentary of fire magic, someone that was discarded by their parents because they
this drunken
were
princess.
Drunken princess. Um,
This half-breed.
a fucking lolicon.
This
Uh,
prisoner, escaped convict.
yeah, all
Uh,
these different
this
people able to command under him.
this
No, it
diseased
doesn't even
man.
command. It's general. Um,
Even with that, like you mentioned that one of my favorite ones is when Zora talks about how he joined the Black Bulls,
uh,
because he will still give you shit even if you're not a part of a thingy, if you're not a part of a company or whatever, or you take the test or whatever. He doesn't give a shit if he finds someone he likes on the street, or he gets into a brawl with some guy, and even Zora's like, oh, I can't beat this man, he's a monster. He just, here you go,
he
wear it
goes
if
on the
you want,
street.
I don't
He's a
give a
cunt. He's
fuck.
like,
Bye.
here's a Blackpool thing. I don't know where our base is. You remember now.
Yeah.
Goodbye. And then he's like, you're a fucking member of the Black Bulls? I'm like, yeah, he gave me a cloak like 3 years ago. So I guess I'm here now.
Just because, you know.
And I love with that premise, like any fucking member can just show up out of the blue. And it's like, oh, I'm a Black Bull too. What? Why?
Who are you? We've not seen you before, but even still, Yami made that very clear in the beginning. Here are some of our members. Everyone else is lost or dead or on a mission. I don't give a shit.
And I want to say he inspires, but he doesn't. He's mostly shit.
Oh,
What he does,
but everyone in the Black Bulls respects him and definitely admires him.
yeah, I love the water temple.
Mm.
He's trapped somewhere in some old, like, pretty much like a pocket dimension. He can't get out. He's not able there to save his crew, his squad. He's able to beat these villains, but he can't because he's trapped. Right? It's another case of if he was in that battlefield, he completely changed the premise, the pretense of the
Mm.
story. Right? He's always telling them to surpass their limits.
Yeah.
So what better is there for him to do to learn an ability that can cut through dimensions? Because why not? That's Yami's superhero for me.
I think his strength is definitely part of him is because he's different. He's different from everyone because he's a foreigner. He got a really weird magic from this world, like that no one gets. Like it's literally the opposite of what royalty gets, and that's light magic. He has darkness magic, and he's one of the most unusual characters in the system. The way he fights, even with other aspects, not just magic alone that a lot more characters do, but he uses his brawn, he uses his skills, he uses his senses,
It's key.
his qui, to fight and everything. And definitely when you see him enter the field, you know it is a game changer because he has entered that field, and that moment is like, ah, shit, right. Even him just getting blown into a building and he's saying, oh, damn, that witch queen, someone to be revered for hundreds of years. And he's just like, oh, fuck, I got a bit of a scratch. She punched him in the gut. Mm.
The other is usually number one on this list, I feel. That presence, that big dick energy. Maybe not the biggest dick in Black Clover,
Mario Leona.
but, top three. Top two.
Top three.
And that's mine 3x3.
And that's all the 3x3's done. Episode 9 is completed. Wow. Episode 9 is con. Yeah. Cops? Robot chicken cops.
Don't be mean to Cone.
What? But
I'm doing true.
the cone.